I don't see the advantages of being plus size. You're always going to be shamed no matter what, especially in this Nigeria. Even the most popular nightlife guy, that's Yemoli, he came out one day to say that, oh, if you're a girl and your tummy they big, go less some.
You guys see calling somebody a bag of bone as joke, but when we call you fat, it's offensive.
A skinny girl takes a picture and then on internet be like, this one doesn't have front or back. I'd be like,
there's no place it's going to grab. There's no cushion.
Being plus size is not a choice. I weighed close to 11 kg at birth.
As far as I know, I don't think there's anything called a fat gene. What you put in your body is still a choice. It's a difficult choice, but it's still a choice.
Nobody wakes up to say, oh, I want to be a plus size. I have done the fasting, road work, stairs, climbing. I've done 500 sit-ups and push-ups, and it didn't work.
It just means that you have to do more in terms of physical activity than the other guy.
So basically, if you had a dad who would, ostracize you, and he's always letting you know that at your size, you can never be truly happy unless you come down on your size. Let me not continue. Go on.
Here are the prompts we'll be discussing on today's episode. Please signify if you agree with the prompt. Calling someone fat is demeaning.
It's a difficult one. There's always a gray area. But of course, depending on the context, the way you call somebody fat can definitely be demeaning. If you are friends and you know each other and we are just riffing, and I say, oh, my fat friend, it might not be demeaning in that sense. But if I don't know you from somewhere, depending on the context, it could be demeaning.
If it's not that person's brand, you avoid it. You don't know what anybody could be comfortable with, right?
Exactly.
You must also consider the person. You must know, okay, do I know this person well enough? What is it? It's not like when someone is walking on the streets, you call the person horrible and all those kind of things, give names and all those things. It's just, generally, you just need to avoid it. So.
Can the disagreeers now speak?
The word fat is just a descriptive word. The same way you can say someone is short, someone is tall, someone is skinny, someone is fat, someone is dark, someone is fair. It is just a descriptive word. I feel like the Westerns are the one that made us think that when you say someone is fat, it's bad, or you are body shaming them. Like, you can call me skinny, I'm comfortable with it. If I see, oh, did you see she's fat, if she's dark, you're just trying to describe the person. When it becomes a problem is when you are now shaming them for their stature. Oh, you are fat, you can't do this, you can't run. But just saying, oh, you are fat. I'm just describing your body physique,
Anna,
your body stature.
Fat girl, please come. Skinny girl, come over.
Anna, we come to you. It's as simple as that.
Like she said, it's just
A descriptive word.
It's just there's really no big deal to it. You can call me fat. It's who I am. It does not change who I am. It does not change how I feel.
It doesn't stay on your forehead.
It doesn't remove any money from my account. Okay, so it's just
very important.
Words can only have power over you if you give meaning to it. So if you give it a negative meaning or a negative connotation, that's when it will come back to you as feeling negative and all. Society deems that you're only beautiful if you're skinny. So when you're calling a person fat, it's almost like saying, oh, you're not part of society. That's why it could look at in a negative way. But like I said, it doesn't need to be looked at in a negative way. It's just a descriptive word that can only have power over you if you give it that power. My name is Nini. I'm a lawyer. I stand on the fat side, obviously. I decided to do this video today just to be able to be that voice for the sides that are not really heard of, to be able to bring more perspective, a different type of perspective to this topic in particular. Yeah.
And we also live in a society or in a world whereby people are free to say whatever they like. If a child is in our middle and they say, okay, point out to the fat and the skinny, they'll be pointing. They'll be like, that's the fat lady and that's the skinny. So it's just a descriptive word. Anybody can call you whatever they want to. You're fat, you're skinny, you're skinny.
I like the points that you guys have raised. We should also be careful when we say, oh, it's the Western world because of what we see on social media. Because the Western world are more open in sharing their sensitivities doesn't mean that people are not suffering from that insensitivity locally. It's just that in Nigeria, we have bigger issues that we are dealing with. So sometimes we don't pay attention to smaller things. At some point in time, mental health was not a big deal. It's more of a big deal now because we are prioritizing it. But when they say something is demeaning, I think it's more about the person that is coming from versus you. Just because you are comfortable with how you are and it doesn't offend you, doesn't mean the person that is saying it is not trying to be demeaning. And children too, I like that example. Children can be mean, let's face it.
Mr. Mayowa, I believe that children are children.
Yeah.
And their innocence is not taken away from them except someone teaches them otherwise.
Yeah.
There's a different way you can call someone fat or thin without even saying it. Someone just comes around there and say, oh, I know you finished that food. You can, is this food is not enough for you. Now let us add more. We know if you eat it, nothing will show.
But that's different. They didn't mention the word fat. That's just outrightly being condescending and mean. But we are speaking towards the word fat itself. Like I say, you this stupid fat girl. And the only issue I'm going to have with there is the stupid, not the fat. Because I know I'm fat. Like, I know. You don't have to tell me. I have a mirror in my house.
Because it is not demeaning to you, doesn't mean the intent was not demeaning.
I do not think that every plus size have that, strength and capacity that, when somebody calls me fat, I won't pick an offense. But it's something that I believe and I would encourage that most of them should try to have that, learn to have that self-esteem.
Let's say we're at a buffet now, and then they say, okay, everybody go and eat. And then some people say, let's get in front of the fat person so we'll have food to eat. You don't think somebody will find that offensive? You might not find it offensive, but somebody will find it offensive.
But really, I'd like us to see this from another point. This word fat, where did it originate from?
English.
The word in itself is not offensive.
Yeah.
Descriptive word is not offensive. But the prompt was calling somebody fat. Can it be demeaning? And I believe that, yes, it can be
So you brought up the
demeaning.
context in which it can be demeaning.
Exactly. That's why I said within the right context.
I think it can be demeaning depending on the context, but the word itself.
The word
I'm coming around, but you brought up some examples
on the word itself.
And I thought that's what the prompt was saying, talking about the word itself first. But in speaking to the context, like it's just that buffet thing, other things. Just that buffet one.
Hold on a minute. If you're not subscribed to the channel, here's the perfect time for you to smash that subscribe button and like the video if you're enjoying the conversation so far. Now, let's get back to the show. Being fat is a choice.
I struggled to really agree initially, but when I think about it, I think ultimately the consequence of your weight or you being plus size still comes down to the choices that you make. Some people will talk about maybe metabolism being fast or slow or things like that. But I think as far as science is concerned, what drives how fast your metabolism is really down to your lifestyle. It might not be your choice maybe because you didn't pick up certain habits or cultures while you were growing up or someone didn't embed it to you. But ultimately to get to a point whereby you have the control to decide what you put in your mouth. It might be difficult. You might suffer from an addiction. But ultimately, it's still a choice.
Candid disagreeers now speak.
Being plus size is not a choice. For someone like me now, they said I was a big baby. I weighed close to 11 kg at birth. So sorry to my mom for that. But it's my dad, his sisters, all of them, they all look like me. Apart from that being genetics, there's also some medical conditions, hyperthyroidism, PCOS, that even makes it harder to lose weight, antidepressant drugs. The major side effect is weight gain. And then again, you made mention of metabolism. I'm kind of very self-conscious when it comes to eating where I work. They can have their lunch, they'll bring food from home, have their lunch, and then maybe later on during the day, they'll be like, oh, let's order food, let's order small chops, let's order this. But me, I wouldn't say I want to order, so I'll just stick to the food I ate because I know if I was to have that small chops, I won't be able to breathe again for the next day. I've done so many things to lose weight and nothing really worked. So I won't say it's a choice. It's just the cards you're dealt with.
Nobody comes to the earth choosing their body. We are all born certain way, and along the line, other choices could now come into play. But originally, there is something that is coded in our genetics. Personally, I've seen children that are born and they look obese from birth.
I come from a lineage where everyone is a plus size. and it had nothing to do with whether we're eating right or we're exercising. I eat food and I digest like almost immediately, but it still doesn't change anything. So I disagree because nobody wakes up to say, oh, I want to be a plus size. I have done the fasting, the intermittent fasting. I've done the road work. I've done the stairs climbing. I've done 500 sit-ups and push-ups, and it didn't work. And sometimes when I see people are on the slim size, there are things I do that they can't do. So this is me, and I embrace it. I am FR1. I'm a businesswoman or business lady, and I am on the plus size. Being on the big size is really not a choice. Nobody wakes up to say, I want to be on the plus size. I actually strongly believe it has to do with your genetics.
So I disagree with the statement because heredity is something that plays a certain role in a kid's life. You must either get something from your mom or from your dad. And the genetic makeup of whatever they have in them is what led to what they are now. So I disagree with the statement that you said plus size is a choice.
A fat person that decides, okay, they want to lose weight and they've been trying before and it's not working, they have to do the most extreme things. Maybe starve themselves for a very long period of time, or even go as far as going for surgeries, removing fats in their body. Like, they have to do extreme things to actually lose those weight. And there are major negative side effects to those kind of things. So yeah, I really disagree that being fat is a choice.
As far as I know, I mean, I could be wrong. I don't think there's anything called a fat gene. I think it's contentious to say being fat or being plus size is hereditary. But yes, from a cultural perspective, you can have a father and a mother that is fat and you become fat. So if you look at like the Samoan culture, is it the coastal region or
That's
whatever?
where the rock is from.
Exactly. You see a lot of them are always big and fat. It's not because it's a gene. It's because they have a certain lifestyle, diet, and cultural norms that are just passed on. Again, yes, if you come out as a baby and you are chubby or you are fat, yeah, of course, that's not your choice. That's obviously the choice of maybe your mom or her diet and things like that. I mean, I'm also on the fat side. I've tried exercise, but if we really challenge ourselves, how consistent have we been? Even the idea of people having faster metabolism versus not. I mean, there might be, maybe you have some hormonal imbalance or something, but ultimately your metabolism is as a result of your level of physical activity. That's why you don't see a lot of people selling gala in the streets that are fat. What you put in your body is still a choice. It's a difficult choice, but it's still a choice. So my name is Maiwa. I'm a pharmacist. I'm also the co-host of a podcast called Dead Talk Niger Podcast. I guess I'm on the fat side of this conversation. We are all humans. We struggle with, sometimes introspection and being honest with ourselves. If nobody else is going to pity you, you pity yourself. And I'm not trying to de-emphasize the effort that people have taken into trying to get to a better weight or just be healthy in general. Even I myself, as you can see, I've gone through several diets, I've gone through things, but I know that the biggest issue that I've had is consistency. And I think that cuts across for many people across the world. We all have egos. We can be sensitive. So all those things contribute in us, really not accepting the truth of our condition sometimes.
So let's take, for instance, mothers who are not on the plus size. I've witnessed a lot of, I'm sorry to use this word, skinny mothers or skinny women that are pregnant and they give birth. They actually eat well. But after the child buried, they still end up adding. They will still go back to do their exercise, eating healthy, everything is good, but you just find out that there's this thing in them, it just can't go. We hear of the tummy fat, the side fat. So what do we say about those things?
He said there are some people with hypothyroidism, their cortisol levels are out of whack, they are overproducing insulin. There are so many health factors that come into why somebody is the size that they are in. And Nigeria being Nigeria with the greatest healthcare system in the world, so things like that, like actually doing that investigation and finding out, is it that I'm overproducing insulin, or is that my cortisol levels are out of whack, or is it my pH levels, the PCOS and all, the healthcare system doesn't really allow for those deep investigations to actually find the root of the problem. You said it is a choice. I would still say it is not a choice because those health issues come into play, which people are not even most times aware of. And I'll say again, metabolism is one of those biggest things that come to play. Because how can I watch somebody eat 5 packs of food? Me, I only ate 1. And you are still skinny. And you're saying it's not a metabolism thing.
But then let's even say, yes, we have this healthcare system. Based on just anecdotal evidence, we are not saying that everybody has a hormonal imbalance. I don't think it's as general and as common. If we take all the facts... No, I'm just saying, if you take...
Because why? The healthcare system is trash.
Let's use a country that has a better healthcare system. Let's just pick one country.
None.
Let's use the US. The US also has an obesity...
Wrong choice.
Has an obesity problem, right? I'm sure you guys will have heard that maybe 1 in 5 people in the US is obese or whatever. How many of them will you say are predisposed due to hormonal imbalance? And even if you have the hormonal imbalance and you are told, and then your doctor says, as a Nigerian, remember the kind of foods that we eat and everything. And they say, oh, maybe you should consider a vegetarian diet. Is it a choice for you to go on that diet or not?
How do you get the vegetarian diet?
to
No,
be
I'm just asking, is it a choice technically for you to go on a vegetarian
Let me state
diet
something.
or not?
There is a lot of things that come to play, and you cannot know exactly what comes to play. When I talk about genetics, we are looking at the first stage of genetics. We are looking at the father and the mother. What about the parents, grandparents? Some of the things I am that is in my own category now, the height, slenderness, and everything, is not directly from my own direct parents. It's from the grandparents.
I'm not disagreeing with the fact that certain things can cause people to gain weight more than others. That's not the issue. But the point I'm making is even if the reason why you are fat or something is because of hormonal imbalance or whatever, it just means that you have to do more in terms of physical activity than the other guy to be able to not be plus size. So that's where the choice comes. Maybe for Josh, he has to walk 3,000 steps a day. But for me to be able to maintain that same level, I have to do 20,000 instead of 10. You get the point? So that's where the choice comes.
So what if you make the choice to do the more work and you're not gaining any results due to those hormonal imbalances? I think what we are getting wrong here is that you can be fat and you can also be fit.
I don't disagree with that.
Some of my siblings who are, I'm sorry, their size, they got married. And my immediate younger sister, I am a size 16, she's a size 18. From a size 8 to a size 18. So
How do you do it?
Okay, exactly. How do you do it? I believe strongly that it's genetics. My grandmother from my father's side is on the plus side. My grandmother and my grandfather from my mother's side is on the plus side. And I was opportunity to see my great-grandmother and the pictures of my great-grandfathers. And there was none that was a size 8. When I say we eat healthy, we eat healthy. We make good choices when it comes to our foods, our diets, our vegetables, name it. Evenings, as a family, we take long road walk. In the morning, sometimes we walk, we all go to the gym or stadium at least maybe 2 or 3 times in a week. But it still doesn't change this.
I'm not saying there are no exceptions, but ultimately, at the end of the day, when we say plus size, generally speaking, we're talking about someone that has extra fat on their body. So where does the fat come from?
So my question
I think at this point, we'll have to ask God.
When does a person have an extra fat?
When you are considered as plus size is depending on where that fat is located.
Exactly.
If the fat is located on your ass, you are a thick, hot babe. You are the scrum to the yum. You're the one everybody wants. You get what I mean? But if the fat now happens to be on your stomach or on your arms, they're like, oh, you get. All fat is fat, literally, whether it's on your ass, on your stomach, we're all plus size together. And again, I wanted to actually come back. You made mention of America. I think this conversation needs to be restricted to Nigeria because and Africa. Because number one, the foods we have in Nigeria are highly carbohydrates. But when you now say you want to move out of those foods and eat healthier, where are the healthier options that are still affordable? They'll be mentioning one ingredient that even if you go to the finest mall in this world, you will never find it. When you go to the doctor, there's already a stigma that, it's your fatness that is causing all this problem.
Exactly.
No doctor is bothered to do deeper investigation as to actually, what is causing this fatness? This person is telling me they are going to the gym 3 times a day and they are minding what they are eating, but yet they are still fat. They are just going to say, oh, you need to lose weight, you need to slim down. How?
So I only brought up America because somebody brought up the issue of our healthcare system. So I wanted to juxtapose that even in a country that has supposedly a good healthcare system, they still have an obesity problem. And why is it? You trace it back to their diet. A lot of them eat fast foods, whatever. Similar to us in Nigeria. So what's the real root cause, right? And you talk about lack of access to fruits and vegetables, which I want to contest. We have access to fruits, whatever. Maybe things are getting a little bit more expensive now. But I think it's more of a cultural thing. We grew up eating amala and eba and all those kind of things. They don't really infuse the whole, okay, just live on a fruit diet type of thing or vegetables only or things like that. You see a lot of people talking about gyms now. When I was growing up, that was not a culture or a lifestyle that was predominant, and I wish it was. But the point I'm just trying to make is that it's more of a cultural thing, and yet maybe that's taking away our choice a little bit. But ultimately, to get to a certain stage where you have to make the choice, it's not easy. I mean, look at me that I'm speaking. It's a difficult choice, but it's still ultimately a choice.
My name is Josh Shaita Matloko. I'm a media professional, majorly TV broadcasting and production. I'm on the skinny side today. I understand everything everybody said. No, I'm still of the ground that yes, you can change it, you can make choices or your lifestyle. There are still cases where you cannot do anything about it.
Skinny shaming is often worse than fat shaming.
Why I agree to that is because presently in our time now, they tend to make skinny people feel irrelevant. I have a sister who, at some point, she was always crying to me and she was like, sister, I don't like the way I look because people call me that I'm too skinny, or they call me that I'm a bony person, I don't have flesh. So I keep telling her that you don't allow people control who you are. And I feel it's wrong when people say negative things about skinny people. So
Can the disagreeers now speak?
I will appreciate what she said, speaking on behalf of skinny guys and ladies out there. However, one truth is any type of body shaming is bad and none is worse than the other. They are all bad.
So I feel like they are still on the same level. I have suffered in this world. Do you know how many times somebody will see me and do like this? I have suffered.
No, they hold you out and they shake it.
Do you know, like,
why?
Oh, a skinny girl takes a picture and then on the internet, like, this one does not have front or back. I'll be like, and again, or he be a plus size or a fat lady, takes picture on the internet and then people are, why is your neck like this? Lose weight, do this one, do that one. So I believe they are all on the same lane, at the same level.
I believe skinny shaming only exists in Nigeria because we're a country of big-bodied people and all. But going outside Nigeria, skinny is the best. Skinny is societally acceptable everywhere you go. Kim Kardashian, for one, the pioneer of BBL, the pioneer of thick women, will I say, because she only had a fat ass. She didn't have any fat in other parts of her body. She has removed her BBL. She's going back to being skinny. And I would say for the shaming for fat people is worse than skinny people because the shaming might just be in your younger years. When you become an adult, you come into your own and your own style. You're going to be accepted anyway. But for fat, regardless, you're always going to be shamed no matter what. Especially in this Nigeria, what people love to say is that, you're not going to marry if you're still this size though. But I doubt they are saying that to skinny girls, that men will run away from them. And I don't know, I'm not skinny.
People be like, who wants to marry this bag of bones? They do say it.
Like, I feel like last, you still find the people that love you for you. I traveled a while back. Making friends was like so crazy. People just don't even want to associate with you or something like that. They're not very accepting of you until you are able to show them your value. Oh, you're not just there to take up space and kinikon. It's almost like an afterthought.
I don't have any empirical or scientific evidence to say, the number of people that get shamed more or whatever. But I mean, just based on observation, media, everything, I don't even think it's close. Especially if you look at both extremes. If you look at somebody who is morbidly obese and somebody who is tragically skinny. Like you are say that person with anorexia, right? But with the person that is morbidly obese, you are say that person with imminent death, it's heart disease, with so many other things. While I'm not saying that skinny people don't, I mean, you guys gave very, very pertinent examples that we can all relate with, but I don't even think it comes close.
Counter what you guys said about skinny shaming not even coming close to fat. That is the reason why you don't understand the gravity of it, because you guys just shrug it off. Oh, skinny people get it easy. You guys see calling somebody a bag of bone as joke, but when we call you fat, it's offensive. Me personally, growing up, right from childhood, I can remember, she's too slim, you are like bag of bone. Are you sure you're not going to die soon? People equate being skinny to being malnourished. Oh, she has kwashiorkor. Since everyone was like, oh, you're skinny, and then the only nice people that had something nice to be like, okay, be a model. Okay, oh yeah, let me join the modeling agency. What did I hear? Oh, your bum bum is too big. You need to lose more weight. Me, that is suffering from kwashiorkor, should lose weight to fit their idea of what a model should be. The gravity of skinny shaming is worse than you can imagine. I'm not saying it outweighs fat shaming. I think they're on the same wavelength. They don't regard skinny people, and it really affects a lot of people, because that's why that's why you now see skinny people want to gain weight, start doing weight gain, weight gummies, BBL, and all those stuff.
Thank you, Anna.
My name is Anastasia Chima. I am a YouTuber. I'm a student of the University of Lagos. I'm a mobile videographer and video editor. And I'm on the skinny side of this conversation. People downplay skinny shaming because skinny people don't react to it the way the fat people react to the fat shaming. It's not like we don't feel it. We feel it, but we're just piling it up. Me personally, growing up, I experienced a lot of it, like a lot, to the extent that I didn't want to be in group photos. I didn't like being seen. I never felt beautiful at all. As old as I am now, sometimes I get that moment where I don't even feel beautiful. I don't feel seen. I don't love my skin. Sometimes, it's not all the time. I think very soon, once more skinny people start speaking, it will become a big topic, and then people will start to talk about it. I feel like it should even be talked about, because it actually happens as grave as fat shaming.
For the skinny people, it's a silent killing word that they do that most of us don't pay attention to. I'm trying to hold myself. I had great minds, great friends commit suicide because somebody said they're skinny. You see a slim person, you say atawewe, or you call them biscuit bone.
You just snap her like this and she'll break.
And you know, most times skinny people, when you say those words, many of them don't show how they feel about those words you say. And it hurts. It kills them more.
Let's paint this scenario. We have 3 beautiful ladies, one skinny, one right in the middle, and then one fat. And they're all applying for a job in a marketing agency. Who do you think they'll give the job to?
Middle class.
Going for
What's the product?
For marketing. I'm just saying, it's marketing. It's marketing,
No,
right? Who do you think?
Yeah, the person
Who
in
do
the
you
middle,
think?
most
Yeah,
likely.
exactly. That's why I said they are equal.
And maybe the reason why the skinny shaming hasn't gotten as much attention is because it's just not as severe as the fat one.
Why do you think they added the BBL? Is it not because of the skinny shaming?
No, not because of the skinny shaming. Because trend change. It was trend change.
That's why.
It can be. No.
You and Effa go for the modeling agency. Marketing, the same example that you gave. Who are they going to pick?
Marketing
So for
or
modeling, they have requirements.
No, you're bringing in requirements. That was when you gave 3 options, right? So I'm trying to put the scale. So we said we've all agreed the person in the middle is priority. So I'm not saying take away that person. It's now 2 of you. Who is the next person?
I'm not in the manager's head.
I'm not in the
manager.
They're going to pick the skinny person, and the fat person will always be picked last. Like I said, we are an afterthought to your mind.
Exactly.
You're not seeing the value in them. The only reason why you're seeing them is because they're the biggest person in the room. That's all. That's all.
There is more pressure on women than men to conform to certain body standards.
I gave an example of people telling you that men will run away from you if you are this size, but nobody is telling a man that girls are going to run away from him if he's this size. What they tell men is get your money up and the girls will chase you around and all.
Even me, as a skinny person, I hear things like, there's no place he's going to grab. There's no place he's going to rest his head on. There's no cushion. I don't hear anything for the male. Where's your six packs? You know, where are your muscles? Me, I want ribs. I want to feel
like it's like the men who actually get in shape and have those abs, they do it out of the choice. They want their body to look good, but they're not doing it for the women. But you see those women in the gyms, they're doing it for a male's attention,
for the male gaze, for the male validation.
And that's why we keep hearing about all these quack hospitals coming up doing BBLs. Somebody has died here, all because what? The male validation. So much pressure to fit into the plus size body shape of the flat tummy and the big ass.
If you're looking for a perfect woman, you the robots.
Definitely, there's more pressure on women, but I think it's rooted in the motivation for relationships. I mean, generally speaking, I'm not saying women don't care about looks. I think they do as well. I mean, if you had the choice of somebody with a pot belly and someone with six-pack and every other thing was equal, I'm sure you would go for the person with six-pack. So it doesn't mean that looks doesn't apply for men, but it's more predominant in women.
Basically, there's also a dysfunction somewhere. Everybody has been brainwashed a certain way. Most of this situation we're talking about now, it even comes from women themselves. You check it, mother is telling the daughter, this statement was making, it is most times coming from siblings, family, people that are very close.
So if us women, we are seeing a certain pattern that only this type of women get approached and get moved to, us, the remaining women, what should we do? It's just an innate nature that, oh, you're seeing this thing is working out for this person this way. I too also want to try it. Maybe it will work out for me this way. So it's not a thing of, oh, it's women, polluting women and all. It's what the males have given us.
But do you realize that even the women puts this pressure on men themselves? Six packs.
Because you don't have money now. If you don't have money, work on your body.
And that's what I was literally saying. Like, it is the money, is what you have to offer that women are looking at, the stability and the consistency you can offer. I see situations where the guy is like, I cannot create anybody, but the guy is not very good looking. He's not with the six packs or skinny conky. But you see with the hottest girl, see that Miss World or something. See the man she married. I'm even going for herself. Right here in our backyard. See who she married at 21. See who she married because she was looking at the stability and the consistency and the type of life he can give her. But for men, all you guys care about is looks. You don't care about whether she can add to your life. One funny you can show off. You see who I bagged? You see that bitch on my shoulder?
That's a bit of a generalization. I'm not saying it's not true.
The kind of partner you have or you meet is either it helps you or it breaks you. You can be in a relationship with a man who he loves you for who you are. If he could marry you, a skinny person, and after childbirth and everything, he still loves you, he still appreciates you. Your look is not even a problem for him. I don't also want to believe, probably because it's my person, that men too don't get scrutinized.
We do.
They do. No, they do.
Okay, of their shape. Some men do.
Maybe amongst their friends.
No, women scrutinize men for their shame.
You see, the same way men sit down to talk, it's the same way we women sit down to talk.
She said she believes society got it wrong. That's just society for us. And I feel it's even an innate human nature to see somebody and already be ready to judge them based on just how they are without them even saying a word. I don't even feel it's society. I just think it's human nature. Like, I've had somebody tell me, like, are you sure you can't do this case? Because the case is difficult and it needs a lot of brain power. What do you mean brain power? It's not brain that is in my head. Like, I would work on it as best as I can and do the best I can do. It's innate human nature, but it's also something we can also work on to not just make a final decision based on how somebody looks. And even all those fears aside, just being yourself, carrying yourself well is another way of, curbing that societal issue. Because as much as I want to say society does this, society does that, we ourselves as society.
Being fat has its advantages.
I think being fat has an advantage. It depends on the situation. Because I'm not going to say being fat is a disadvantage. There may be requirements, like maybe in the modeling agency, they want a fat person or a plus-size person to do the job. Me, myself, as a skinny person, I get cold every time. I don't think a fat person has that same issue because they have more meat in their body.
Girl, goodbye.
More
Bye.
flesh. They have their advantages depending on the situation.
I mean, I totally agree. It depends on the situation. I'm just only thinking of obscure examples. I'm sure there are more practical examples where being of a heavier set person can be an advantage.
I'm going to give you some of the practical ways. I've gone for jobs that does not require any body size or whatever, but I've gotten a response that you don't look like you can represent our brand well. You look like you will need more feeding, more care.
Jesus.
As a skinny person, even when you are fine, everybody is asking you, are you fine? For every size, there is an advantage to it. If you are not seeing the advantage, it's probably because you blinded yourself by the cons and the disadvantages. Being on the plus size, it's now becoming generally acceptable, especially among opposite sex, the male gender to female.
Can the disagreeers now speak?
I don't see the advantages of being plus size. I can only think of one advantage, and that's being able to float inside water more than other people can. The disadvantage is so crazy, especially in this Nigeria. Number one, shopping for clothes. And then you said something, the opposite sex. Like I mentioned before, this plus size thing, there are levels to it. There's the plus size that you have a flat stomach, you even look skinny, but once you turn around,
Slim thick.
boom, 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 boom. Look at Ashley Graham, the biggest plus size model. Please, why is her tummy flatter than mine? And she's a plus size model. To be acceptable, you have to be this type of plus size. You can't be the plus size that has a big tummy, has big arms, has fat on their thighs. You have to be the plus size that has a flat stomach and the big ass. That's the plus size that is acceptable in our society. Once you walk into a room, for a job interview, for instance, they are on their minds, they are thinking, can this person do the job? This person looks lazy. Are you sure they can do the work? I'm sure you are very funny, right? Because, all fat people must be funny. They must have the personality. Why can't I be fat and be a bitch? must every fat person be nice and be, wanting to be warm and cuddly? Like, I'm going to hug the world. I'll solve the world's problems with my hug. Like, nah.
Nini has made a very good, valid point. There's no advantage or disadvantage. It's just preference. When people see plus size, they think to see them more on the male, perspective. And I feel most times it's wrong. I have people who tell you that it's better to marry a plus size person so that even if she's starving, it will not show that she's starving. People say things like that. It's really not helpful. I don't
say there's an advantage to being skinny. You guys can walk into a store and buy something off the mannequin's body.
You can also walk into a store and buy things off the market. The market has changed. There's more... The plus size.
No, the plus size market has not changed.
My size.
This is not giving civil servants. It's giving a woman in her 50s.
Most of my clothes, I don't buy. I sew.
I sew, literally.
I can't find my own size.
Have you gone to the children's section?
You see, but I'm a grown woman.
I have to buy like a size 8 and slim fit it.
And slim fit it.
Exactly.
All my trousers, all my clothes, you will see shredding.
Back to the prompt, I think the question was whether it can be an advantage. So I agree with her. I think ultimately there's less advantages.
I had a close sister of mine. She runs a school. And she said a parent came to the school. Probably there was a teacher who did something to the student or something. And when she came, she was the one who was actually being approached. And because she was on the same side and she was trying to understand what the problem was, then the parent was like, who are you? Get away. I want to see the proprietors of the school. And she was trying to explain to the lady that I'm the proprietors of the school. And the lady was like, no, I want to see the proprietors. So she now had to go and call a teacher who was on the plus size to come and talk to the parent. So sometimes, there could be some, but I think there's still more disadvantage, really.
This might sound silly, but if in a fight, if the person is not as a skilled fighter, like a black belt or something, so but most likely the person who is bigger would win in a fight.
No.
And also, they also tend to label them as fat people as being lazy. They are not lazy. Oh. Me, I'm lazy. No, I am selectively unavailable. So they also have a lot of disadvantages compared to the advantages in this world that we live.
I envy the other side.
I definitely would like to be slimmer or skinnier or whatever the case may be. And it's just simply from a health perspective. When I do my BMI, I am actually in the obese category. So obviously, if you are obese, you are more predisposed to potential health challenges, especially as you get older. The ideal preference would be to be slimmer, but not just slimmer as well, to be healthier in general.
Well, mine isn't from a health perspective. Last December, I had some cousins come over and, we did the whole Dirty December. But I noticed in the Dirty December, I was being left out, like a lot. A guy would come up to the group of us and they would just talk to them three. And, it's like, I wasn't even there. Like, and I looked and I envied them. I looked at them like, what is it that you have that I don't have? And the only thing I could see is that their bodies were smaller. There are so many experiences I feel some girls have that I feel like I would never be able to experience or I'll never be able to reach because of my size. Even the most popular nightlife guy, that's Yemoli, he came out one day to say that, oh, if you're a girl and your tummy they big, go less You will never fully be accepted if you are a certain size. Like now, as I'm shooting this video, I've been adjusting my posture so I won't be looking like somebody that is slouching or you get what I'm like. There's so many things that goes on in my head when I'm doing certain things, like the way I look, the way people will perceive me, and I just want all that noise to stop.
No matter what body type you have, might not necessarily have the satisfaction if you do not know how to embrace yourself in wherever you are currently. Pandemic period was just food for me. I had that flesh, but it does not look much different from this. So after the pandemic, I saw one of my friends. He's looking very good. He looks very muscular. And he told me peanut butter. And I started munching on peanut butter. Until I saw a video of an LD art and an unhealthy art. And I realized that, if I accumulate fat in my heart, there is no amount of physical work I would do that would actually help me cut it down. It might end up to be surgical. I begin to ask myself, do I really want that for myself? Then I realized I didn't. But the truth of the matter is, if I have a choice to be able to add flesh and bring it back, I would.
Can the disagreeers now speak?
I am not agreeing with envy about the other side. But I'm agreeing with envy for slim, thick people. People that have the assets and everything in the right places. Because I've tried to actually gain weight and they tell me take peanut butter and all of that. But I also have hormonal imbalance and they can lead to acne problems for me. So I said, no, I cannot. But if there's a way for me to actually get what they have, but I don't do the BA, please. I get the fact that people on the other side, as fat people, they tend to have like heart diseases, diabetes, like they have a lot of health complications. And I don't want that for myself.
Growing up with insecurities, I'm sure by that age, I thought, okay, if I was this size, maybe this will work out for me, this will work out for me. But now that I am this old, I feel like I'm getting to be comfortable in my own skin. I don't think I envy the other side. I feel they are beautiful in their own skin. I am also beautiful in my own skin. It's just left for me to appreciate myself, see the beauty in myself, because even the other side, like she said, she's envious of me. So if she's envious of me, I'm envious of them. Where are we going to meet? Cross envy. Where is the middle point? So yeah, I think everyone should just appreciate the body that they are in. The most important thing is that you're healthy.
I have never envied the other side. I have always loved who I am. I have always loved my person, my body type, my health, my mental health. Everything about me, I've always loved me. For me, being this bold and confident to say this would also be part of my upbringing. At my size, I make sure I do my general checkup. I make sure I eat healthy. I do the things that I love doing. Everything a skinny person does, I do. I take myself out. I go on shopping spree. I go to any ride whatsoever. I ride on horses. I do not allow my size limits me from having the best time of my life.
You said you can attribute your confidence now to how you were brought up. So let's say you were brought up in a home that from 4 years old, they put you on strict diets, as in the diet that you have 2 pieces of biscuit and tea for your breakfast. In the afternoon, you chew gum. And in the night, that's when you have your first full meal. Then you have a dad who would... Let me not continue. Go on.
Okay, so I get where she's coming from, but I would say this at some.
Sorry, let me just continue now. So basically, if you had a dad who would, ostracize you, and if he even sees you eating a piece of chicken, you'll be like, you are eating again. You are still eating. Or, they won't take everybody out, and you make sure you order the healthiest thing on the plate. You can see your plate is looking different from everybody's plate and all. And he's always letting you know that at your size, you can never be truly happy unless you calm down on your size. So if you had such upbringing, do you believe that your confidence will be where it is today?
To an extent, definitely it will affect your confidence. It will definitely affect your confidence. But one thing I would say to you is at some point in your life, after I don't want to believe you're still with them, at some point you have to.
I'm not saying it's new. I'm just giving hypothetical situation.
At some point.
Everything I said here is allegedly. There's no real person behind any story I shared. Nothing like that. It is all hypothetical and alleged.
At that point, I would suggest or advise you surround yourself with positive mind. I wouldn't tell you that growing up, my family was, it was all
rainbows
good
and sunshine.
I made that definite decision. I want to be happy. My smile is what keeps me going. I would not keep living in my past. I will not keep living by what people think of me. As long as I am not saying that about myself. I do not care. Even if I'm working under somebody who is wealthier than me, you would not use words to embarrass me. I will resign by myself peacefully.
Yes.
Preach, queen.
Preach.
It's not peacefully.
What I want to say quickly is just that I think everybody should also realize, and parents should take, especially for the coming parents, the newly married, and should understand that the family should be a safe zone for everyone, especially the children.
Speak life and love into your child.
Especially the children, because whatever you say to a child in the formative stage would form with them.
Some people are born into a home, and some people are born into a house. So, if you find yourself in a home, be grateful. If you find yourself in a house, be grateful, but find a way to be in a home. And those of you who are in a home, help those who are coming out from a house. So that's it.
My takeaway is Efa's confidence. I've stolen some, put it in the back of my pockets. I've learned to be more confident, love myself more, and actually believe that you can do whatever you set your mind to. But the only limit is the limit you put yourself in.
The major reason why I came to this show is for somebody who is out there, who is not comfortable in their self. This is what I have to say to you.
Find out who you are first.
Especially in this day and age, there's a lot of resources out there that you can leverage on to help boost your self-esteem.
You should have your moments where you are not confident. But when you finish that moment, move. Do things to make you feel confident. Find anything, things that make you happy. Do you love singing? Do you love dancing? What is it that makes you forget about your physical image?
There is a lot of noise in the world. There is a lot of noise in your environment, but take a minute or take a moment to shut those noises out. And if you don't know how, ask for help when you can or when you should. If you're able to find yourself, I don't think any other thing would matter.
You're not alone. I struggle with it. Almost everybody, if I can speak for everybody on the panel, struggled with it. The world will never be satisfied until you are satisfied. You must to embrace whatever you are. Anybody can put you down, but try to stand up again.
We've come to the end of today's show. I hope we've been able to find some level of understanding.
Yeah.
Yeah, well done.
Very insightful conversation. Everyone did. Okay, I'll talk to
Come
you.
and collect this flesh. Oh.
I would,
well done.
I would if I can.